Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Applebox Chronicles. My name is Peyton Buto,
And I'm Adryon Thomas.
and today on the ABCs, we are taking you from A to Z on one of the greatest American films of the 2010s, Adam Wingard's The Guest, starring Dan Stevens. This is in preparation for the new Adam Wingard, Simon Barrett written film, ONSLAUGHT, that comes out in about a month now, that we are both so excited for. You can definitely expect us to do an episode on that when it releases, but for now, we're going to talk about The Guest. I think this is some of their best work.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should just talk about our how we feel about Simon Barrett and Adam Wingard, because at least to me, I love those guys so much. Like, I like their movies a lot. Like, a lot.
I really like their movies. I don't love all of their movies, but I think that they are really exciting artists that are working right now. I think it's really nice to always go see a new movie from them. It took a minute for me to get on board. You described this really well, and I know this is kind of like way ahead in our notes, but I'm just going to say it now because it's a general statement about the two guys. But you said, Simon Barrett is a sharp writer, but with some very dry humor.
Yeah.
And Adam Wingard kind of directs around the dry humor in a way that creates a really interesting, sometimes kind of enigmatic, like comedic tone.
Yeah, the feeling you kind of get when you watch their movies for the first time is like, are they kidding? Are they joking around right now? Or are they being serious? The truth is, most of the time they're just playing around. They're just being funny and stylistic in a way, but it can come off as like, as if you're kind of questioning like what's happening, what is the tone of this movie,
right? And I will say, like, when I say I don't love all their movies, I'm mainly just talking about the Godzilla Kong ones that I have some issues with. Like, some things just kind of stand in the way of me being able to fully enjoy those. I know you're a huge fan of those.
Oh yeah, those are the best out of all the American Godzilla movies.
I would
Godzilla
probably
Kong
say
movies.
the same thing, but I guess I just don't have enough experience with American Godzilla movies to really cast that kind of judgment in any kind of meaningful way. I liked Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla X Kong I struggled with a bit, and I really, really wanted to like it as much as you did, but even on rewatch, I just couldn't quite get there.
No, yeah, that's my favorite one of all of them.
Yeah,
like,
I know. You're like they keep getting better, and I'm like I don't know this. This is not as good as the other one. I don't think.
No, they add. It's so good. Like they're able to get Kong, who doesn't obviously he's a big ape that doesn't speak, to be like super like interesting and emotional, and you're kind of following his journey, which is some of the best parts of the movie. Which is like half the movie is just following Kong around, and I don't know how we got to talking about Kong, but no, he's like, I think he truly understands what makes the American version of like the Godzilla Kong universe actually like interesting, as opposed to when they started off with Gareth Edwards' Godzilla, which is good. I like that movie too, but it's like too serious. It's like where they're trying to really make a dark, serious kind of movie, but we should leave that to the Japanese. I've always felt like the Japanese make the best Godzilla movies with the serious tone,
because that's the meaning of Godzilla.
Yeah,
it holds a very big historical contextual meaning.
There's politics actually added into it when you make it from the
even
perspective.
The lack of those politics makes it a political film technically in an American context.
Sure,
but I think
with the when you're making an American Godzilla Kong movie, you have to be silly with it, and I think for a while people just really, at least I think the studios really wanted to make it more serious, more grounded, because that was kind of the trend back in those days, to make things more realistic and grounded and serious, and like, oh, what if this actually happened? It's like, we're talking about radioactive building-sized lizards and apes. You have to be silly with it. And he knew exactly how to do that properly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you have to be silly with it all the time. But it really, I mean, there is a discomfort there to take something that's so serious, that was created by Japan for a very serious reason, and then just be like, okay, but like, let's make it silly. But I mean, having all,
I mean, even well, that's the thing. For years, the Toho has made like silly Godzilla movies, and that's where they're taking most of their inspiration from, is from that sillier times.
I haven't seen any of those. It's like the Son of Godzilla or whatever.
Yeah.
I actually saw a hilarious meme that was like, Star Wars fans are like, the movies you like suck and the movies I like are good, and they like are arguing. And then the other one, it's like Godzilla fans, the movies you like suck, and he's like, I know, lol. Like,
yeah.
He's like, you want to watch Son of Godzilla again?
Yeah, it's just fun stuff where you just see these big guys in costumes just like fight. It's almost like WWE, but in big Godzilla costumes and like kaiju fighting and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think Adam Wingard understands what's needed to make those movies for like the MonsterVerse work.
I do want to mention, since we're on the topic of this, before we move on to the guests, because that's, the main thing. By the way, if you're watching the video, you might be looking into the eyes of Dan Stevens. Get used to that. That's going to be there the whole time. I would like to say rest in peace to Kaylee Hoddle, who was in the Godzilla Kong films and passed away just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Very young.
Also,
I believe a car accident.
It was shocking news. Like, I couldn't believe it. Also, Sam Neill passed away as well, and he's going to be in the sequel. They're both going to be in the Godzilla versus Kong Supernova movie.
Okay.
But yeah, it's crazy that it happened so close together. And
yeah, that won't be Sam Neill's final performance. No. His final on-screen appearance will actually be the Legend of Zelda movie. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know who he's going to play, but we'll see.
I don't know anything about that stuff going on.
I'm excited for it. West Ball. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. But back to like Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett. I love those guys. All their movies that I've seen from them, I've been fan of. Even the ones that are almost universally disliked, like the Death Note, American live action movie. Pretty much everybody hates that movie except for me.
I actually did like that.
I like that movie.
And I think that might have been my first Adam Wingard film.
That's wild.
Well, you got to understand, when did that come out? 2017? Yeah, I was like 15 that year, so it's...
But no, I mean, as an introduction to his filmography. That's
crazy. Well, I mean, I wasn't thinking about that at the time.
Yeah.
But, it is nice to look back and be like, you know what? I kind of liked that one, though. So maybe I'll watch it again and see how I feel about it now.
The thing is, their movies are funny. Like, they're being satirical or they're being cheeky with it. They're funny, and they're also incredibly self-aware, like, with every film that they've done. They know that they're filmmakers making a movie for people to watch in terms of entertainment. So they're having fun with it. And the funny thing about Death Note is that obviously they needed a director that would take the material seriously. But of course, Adam Wingard's not going to do that. He's going to make fun of like the entire aspect of what the I think it's a manga was the first iteration of it.
Maybe, I would assume.
Yeah, he's just poking holes and like showcasing how ridiculous that is, and he might not have been the best director to direct that movie if you wanted like a good adaptation for it. But I think it's funny how he just basically was like, no, this stuff is silly, and you guys are silly for thinking that you could take it seriously.
I think that Death Note has been like super memed on too, so I think it kind of works. I mean, and also the Willem Dafoe casting is just perfect in that.
It's wild that they got him,
Yeah, and Lakeith Stanfield is in it,
yeah,
which is crazy. But back to the guest, so I hated this movie when I first watched it, actually, and it's because of what you're talking about, which is that these movies are not too serious.
No.
And I was taking it way too serious. I actually think this movie is so important to me, not only like the story of like the movie itself, which I definitely like resonate with in a couple ways, but the just the journey that I've gone on with liking this movie over time. Like, I think this movie is like a 5-star masterpiece now.
Yeah.
Before, I was like, the first time I saw it, I was just like, no, I don't like it. And it was because I had a friend, not blaming my friend for this because it's, you know, my own opinion, but I had a friend tell me that they didn't like it because they were like, oh, nobody in the movie acts like a person, talks like a person, everything is so like ridiculous and unrealistic. And so you go in with that expectation when, you know, someone you know says that, and you're looking for that. You find, I believe that movies are, in a way, in a large way, a self-fulfilling prophecy, where, you know, you go in with certain expectations, and suddenly you're judging the movie on whether it meets those expectations or not, and you're blinded to what the movie's actually doing.
Yeah.
And I really think that's why people will watch a movie like Sinners, and they'll say, that's just From Dusk Till Dawn, because they are committed to believing there's no original movies. Every you know, movies are washed. There's nothing, you know, original out there to find. So then they go mean-spirited into that movie, and they will only see the things that confirm their beliefs. It's true. I think it's so true. People always say, did we even watch the same movie? Well, of course we watched the same movie, but we didn't live the same life. We didn't think the same way while we were watching it, and that does create tangible changes with how the movie meets you. It's not as simple as just observing something that's objective and, you know, that's like takes the same shape for everybody. But I digress. The point is, I had to come back to The Guest with better expectations for what it was. When I met you, you were like, The Guest is so good, and like, oh, it's so funny and all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, maybe we need to give this another go, you know? Yeah. And I give it another go. And I think this movie's incredible. And it's so funny because if I had probably seen my now, like, favorite movie, Trap, if I had seen that back in those days, I probably would have said the same thing. Those are the same complaints that everybody has about that movie. Nobody talks like a person. Nobody acts like a person. And it's like, dude, David from The Guest and Cooper from Trap, they'd be best buddies. These characters... I love these characters for like very similar reasons, and both of them just like make sense to me. Like, their psychology is so interesting and so fun to me to watch as a viewer. The performances are so good. So like, yeah, no, this movie is pretty much perfect in what it's trying to do and executing it. And that's why I think every movie in a perfect world, this is, you know, obviously not plausible because everybody's got a life to live and worry about. Every movie in a perfect world should be watched twice. Once to you know, go into it and just watch it and absorb what happens. The second time is to shed all your expectations you had the first time and only watch it based on what you see the movie is. You know, now that you know what the movie is, you go and you see it again.
Yeah, I think it's really, if you really want to do that, it's just based on like what you like for a movie. Like, if you're looking for, or if you're for instance, if you're not a horror fan and you watch a movie and you're not into it, I don't think you need to watch it again just to be like, oh, I get it.
Sure. If you're like, this is what this movie's doing, and I hate that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about if you are like, I guess I'm just talking about the way that people will go into a movie and they will just tear it apart for not doing something that they put onto it. You know what I mean? And that's why I think you need to go back and just, I guess in my experience, this has just been the case. I go back and I revisit and I let myself go a little bit, and I'm like, okay, I have to go through the grieving process of what I thought this movie was, or what I figured this movie was going to be, and I have to actually watch it for what it is and try to understand why they would make it that way. But people are not trying to look at films through their own intentions. They're trying to assume that the filmmaker, if they didn't like the movie, that the filmmaker must have been trying to make a movie that they liked and failed at that job. Because there's this idea through, I think, capitalism and the way that movies are, you know, sold to us, that you're supposed to be pleased with the product that you're given, that you're not there to see the vision of somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, that you're not there to share in that. You have to give a little bit to the movie very often. Not everything is a crowd pleaser that's there to service somebody else. Sometimes movies are like, this is what's fun for me, the filmmaker, and I hope that it finds the audience that also finds this stuff fun because it's specific.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you get a lot of these great auteurs that are considered just like the best out. Like David Lynch, he makes very unconventional films that, you know, they're very weird, and you could even call something Lynchian because of how iconic his style is. But once you understand that style, and once you know what you're getting into, like, you see it and you understand it and you appreciate it, and it's like it's art. It's, again, movies are art, so you get to appreciate what the vision of the director had in mind, and without the obstacles and the whatever is gets in the way of it through, like, you know, studio interfering and whatnot. I mean, you get to see that in like the Twin Peaks show, like in the second season, but like when you truly understand like the intention of the artists themselves and what they're trying to do, you respect and you like the art. Well, like you finally understand it. You kind of see what they're going for.
Yeah, I mean,
it might not always be your thing, but at least you could, you know, appreciate what they were doing.
I guess to put it, to really put it succinctly, would be to say, I think a lot of people take a movie that's not for me, I don't like it, that's not for me, and they apply a label of, I hate this and it is offensive to me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that's not to your tastes and preferences, but you're acting like it is a crime that it's not. Yeah. And I think that's crazy.
A lot of like big criticisms these days that are lazy criticisms are, you know, the main character is unlikable. Well, yeah, that's kind of probably the point of the movie, is the main character is supposed to be unlikable.
Exactly.
Just because you don't like the main character, just because you don't believe in the things that character believes in, or you hate the character, doesn't mean that the movie's bad. It just means that we're looking at the perspective of someone that's completely different than you. That's like someone that you've never like kind of interacted with or you wouldn't think of, and you're kind of going on that journey to see what goes on. That's where the movie comes in. That's where the experience comes in. It's looking at different people and different places and ideas kind of come together in ways that you probably or have hopefully never seen before. And that's the experience of watching movies, is kind of being put in a situation or place or character that is exciting and different and new and isn't like your regular day-to-day, you know, situation. You can make movies that are realistic and very grounded and like very relatable, and those are good movies too, but then you could also be in movies where, you know, there's a lot of crazy, gory, horrific, or fantasy, fun, adventure stuff going on as well. Like, there's not every movie's gonna be the same, and you kind of have to take the movie each like by themselves and kind of take them on their own.
Yeah, there's no way to apply the same critical framework to every single movie.
Yeah,
because that is, again, wrapping around to where this is all self-fulfilling, that is literally how you get people saying every movie's the same now.
Yeah. Because
that you're filtering it through the same filter.
Yeah.
And so then, you know, you're never going to be pleased in that way.
Well, also if the only consumption of media that you're getting is through like streaming services, they're just going to put out the stuff, not necessarily the stuff that you think that they think that you would like, but just their own like products and like
Yeah.
advertisement of their own product. And so you're in this like chamber of movies that you might not even like just because, you know, they're a Netflix production. And so you're kind of fed this crap. It might not be crap, but it might not be your thing. It might just be like bland streaming servicey type movie, and then you're just like, oh yeah, all movies are the same now because they're all streaming servicey movies. But that's because that's the only filter of films that you're getting is what Netflix or Amazon or Apple TV is just shoving in your face. You have to explore a little bit more and kind of dig a little bit deeper into what you want to see and what you're into.
Exactly. And what we're into is The Guest 2014, starring Dan Stevens, Michael Monroe.
Yeah, we were kind of put in a weird position because we had another movie in mind to talk about today, but we weren't able to see that movie in time because the theater situation is kind of flooded with a lot of movies now, but it's kind of hard to see everyone that we want to.
Well, also, yeah, it's just not showing near us yet.
Yeah, and I mean, Spider-Man's just kind of taken hold of everything, and because, you know, theaters and the studio wants to make money, they're just flooding every theater with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Even the theater that I worked with, like 6 of our 8 theaters are like playing Spider-Man in it.
Oh yeah, no, I think for me it's 10 theaters, and it's still like 6 of them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so that's kind of the good and the bad of having of you know, movie theaters like kind of growing in popularity back again, is that since everybody wants to see movies, they're going to want to flood into the most popular movies, and so they're going to take over and kind of overshadow some of the smaller movies that are coming out that are maybe even better than Spider-Man. Who knows?
Yeah.
But because we weren't able to watch that, we're going to talk about The Guest because Onslaught is also coming out, like we mentioned, and we have a few theories about how they're connected, because we know for sure that Onslaught and The Guest are going to take place in the same continuity and in the same universe. We just, at the moment, we don't know how, and so we kind of want to run through a few theories on how that might be.
And also spoilers for The Guest.
Obviously.
In this episode.
It's like
obviously.
Over 10 years old. So
yeah, you need to go see it. If you haven't watched it, you need to just pause, go watch it, come back right now.
So another movie that Adam Wingard directed and Simon Barrett has written is You're Next. That was kind of like their first big movie that was released, and like everybody saw it, and technically that takes place in the same universe as The Guest as well. A lot of the information that I'm going to be talking about today is based on what they've said through, you know, interviews and commentaries that they've had for this movie, so that's just how the information that I know. But apparently You're Next, the You're Next murders happens in the same universe as The Guest, and so that's why you'll see like a few little Easter eggs here and there. But because it's not directly related, it's just kind of in the periphery, it makes me wonder if they're just going to do the same thing with Onslaught. They're just saying, you know, oh, it's part of The Guest continuity, but we're not actually going to have it.
But there's a little too much there.
I know. There's the biggest theory that we have so far is that it's going to kind of mimic T2, because The Guest is very much inspired by movies like the first Terminator and Halloween, and I think Onslaught could be kind of like a T2 situation in which, you know, Dan Stevens comes back as, you know, David the Guest and kind of becomes a hero type figure, because they've been very secretive about his role, because he does, and they've even shown an image of like the character he's playing in Onslaught, which is like this German scientist, he looks really weird. He doesn't even look like Dan Stevens. But I wonder if he might be playing two roles in Onslaught that is kind of quieted and secretive. I don't know. I kind of wish that they're doing that.
Me too.
But the closer to the movie I get to it, the more I'm thinking like maybe not.
No, and look, not every movie needs to be connected. I think we're gonna enjoy this movie regardless.
Yeah.
But another thing that makes me think that there's gonna be more of a real connection is the poster. The Onslaught poster is like the laundry, the clotheslines outside, and that's a big scene from The Guest. Is they're hanging the laundry outside, and then like the SWAT team shows up or the government shows up, and David drops the laundry basket and starts shooting. Like it's a whole set piece. And so I think kind of that visual being on the poster of Onslaught just reminds me so much of The Guest.
Yeah.
And that kind of a quieter, because I think it's like a trailer park in Onslaught, but
something like that.
It's this kind of quieter, more, like in The Guest, it's this like suburban family home life that's being invaded by this giant military complex like force. And I think that like juxtaposition and bringing those two things together is really cool in The Guest.
They also said that they felt like they went more into how like crazy, not crazy, but how very government they look. Like they're all in black, and it's like if, for instance, they were to show up at someone's house and there were any witnesses, it would be so ridiculous that people wouldn't believe them. It'd be like a bunch of men in black just came to your house and did shit. Like, that's kind of crazy. So I think that is kind of like funny where it's like so wild that they just don't care. Like they know that it's crazy, that nobody's gonna really care about these guys just coming to a house just shooting it up.
Also, Adryon Arjona stars in Onslaught, who is just a phenomenal actress that I love watching in everything, so I'm super excited about that.
She's great. She's fantastic. But that's also what leads to the whole theory of it being kind of like a T2 situation, because it's like the Sarah Connor, and I believe she has a daughter?
Well,
or
in
a child?
Yes, but in T2, Sarah Connor is more, what's the word? She's more jaded. She's more experienced. She becomes more of like a, she's in the know about the situation, about the future, and she, becomes more of a fighter in that movie than she was at the beginning of Terminator, obviously. But she's also very traumatized as well. Yeah. But in this movie, you have Adryon Arjona's character, who seems to be kind of a badass as well, protecting her kid.
Yeah, that's what it's T2. Like it's basically that, and I think that they could have something there. I don't know. I'm excited, but I'm also like, what are they gonna do?
Also, Sarah Connor in the first Terminator, she's a waitress, right? At the beginning of the movie?
Yes.
That is also the job that Micah Monroe has in The Guest. So it's like she kind of is like the first iteration, and she kind of becomes like a badass by the end of that movie.
Yeah.
And then of course the second being the Adryon Arjona character, the more hardened.
It could
warrior.
Be that. She's a part, maybe, like, this is just theories, like, this is like what I'm like trying to think about, is maybe she has something to do with like this government contract corporate thing going on. I think it's like, I keep forgetting like the initials, like KGB or KGT or something like that. But that's kind of been like a bit of a through line with all three of these movies, I guess, with Your Next, The Guest, and Onslaught, because in Your Next, what relates that to The Guest as well is that I believe the father from Your Next works for that company that turns, soldiers into like super soldiers or sleeper cell types. So I think that's where that connection is made, other than the fact that it just takes place in the same universe. So I think that company is going to be like a bigger thing in Onslaught, and like what they do and how they're making these like super soldier types, or putting chips in people's heads so that they could regulate, their emotions and adrenaline and all that stuff, so they could be better at being killing machines, basically.
I love that concept in this movie. So apparently during test screenings, they had more going into the way that David was programmed in the guest and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then everyone was like, "Oh, well, we just like already assumed
Yeah,
that
they're
that's
like,
how it worked."
We've seen we've seen the Born Identity. We know what's going on.
Yeah, like they already assumed what was going on, so they left it more ambiguous in the final film, and I think it works really well because Dan Stevens' performance actually carries a lot of that. Like, you can see in his facial expressions the way that he is fighting with himself. You can tell internally that there's something telling him he has to kill these people. He has to do these difficult things, especially when he has to turn on the family in the third act.
Yeah.
But he also, I think, doesn't... Maybe there's a part of him that really doesn't want to, and so you kind of see him doing things but looking frustrated that he has to do them.
Yeah.
And like when he throws the grenades in the diner, he's like, fuck, there's so many witnesses. I have to kill all these people now. And it leads to just some really darkly funny moments as well as some sad parts as well.
Yeah.
The final set piece in this movie is just one of my favorite climaxes, I think, at this point.
It's really good.
That needle drop of Antonio by Annie is so good. I just love the way that it all plays out. The setting of it, it's this like fake Halloween party with like a house of mirrors and a maze and stuff, and it's at a school gymnasium, so it's like
it's a little haunted house maze in the school, which apparently it was gonna be a bigger kind of set piece where they were gonna go throughout the entire school, like through the hunt. And they were going to do kind of like these little booby traps and situations that they were going to get out of. And then I think they wanted to like maybe blow up the school or something of that sort. And I believe the Sandy Hook like school shootings happened around that time. And so they kind of went away from that, and they just kind of limited it to that one like little area in the school. And less, scary and drastic, I guess.
Yeah.
Which worked out fine, I think, for them. I'm sure it was probably a lot cheaper, too, than trying to look like they blew up a school or whatever. And less, I would assume less, like, shooting in locations. So I think that worked out pretty good. I also just like how it ends... on a cliffhanger, kind of, but it's also like not very subtle with the fact that we just see him just walking out like limping in a fireman's uniform, and she says,
She's
what
like,
the
what
fuck?
the fuck, and then it ends.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's a Halloween thing, when Michael Myers is
Yes,
on the ground
exactly.
anymore. It's sort of like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly what they're
but
trying
also
to do.
the story of the movie, it makes sense because I think we both agree on this. It appears that David pretends to die because that's his way of kind of not having to kill them. He's able to fight his programming just that much to be like, even says to the brother character, like, don't feel bad.
He does the T2 thing.
He does the T2 thumbs up, and so he pretends to die at the end of the film. To essentially let them walk free, so that he doesn't, because otherwise his programming would force him to take them out.
Yeah, which I'm curious if they're gonna even mention like this stuff in Onslaught. I hope they have like some sort of like thing in the background where they're like school catches on fire or something. But I don't think we'll see any of the characters from the guest show up in Onslaught. Though I'm still hoping that, David will come back in some way or form in Onslaught, maybe to be a hero. kind of redeem himself.
Yeah, he really at the end of the movie is really trying to like throw these kids a bone and be like, you can take me out, you could do it.
Yeah,
but he can't say that. He can't act that way.
I mean, he foreshadows it with him giving the kid the brother Brandon, I think is the actor's name, the butterfly knife, and he's like, if a bully like hits you, you take this out or something. I forgot the actual line, but
it's dark.
Yeah,
he's like, bring a knife to school.
Yeah.
Then go over to their house at night, burn it down with their family still inside. What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, it's just the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I also love how ridiculous the bullies are in this movie. They're like Stephen King bullies.
Dude.
There's like one of every type of bully that you could have.
It's so funny, the introductory scene within the school. Like, he gets slammed against his locker, but it's like an assembly line of every different type of bully.
Yeah.
Like, every bully archetype.
It's like you have the jock bully, you have like the kind of greaser, like I'm too cool kind of bully. You have like just the popular kid kind of bully, and they're all just like, they don't even seem like they would necessarily be friends in real life, but they're all just like these different types of like people that would bully someone.
Yeah.
And I just think that's so funny that the movie is not being subtle at all with any of what it's trying to do, and I just like that because the way that Adam Wingard directs it, it's that he does direct it subtly, but like everything else around it is very unsubtle.
Yeah. That's, I think, the magic of the movie, especially with Dan Stevens, is like he is, in a lot of ways, kind of subtle with like, what is this guy trying to do? Like, what is his intention? And he kind of keeps you on your toes, but everything he's doing is so bombastic and crazy. Like, the bar fight scene is so good. Just when he orders the cosmopolitans and the blowjob shots is so funny.
Yeah, and I also just love how you could just see the menace in him, but they play it off as comedy. Like when Micah Monroe finally confronts everybody, and they're like, he's lying, he's not who he says he is, and he just has the knife in his hand, and he's like,
and he picks up the dog tags
with the knife. It's so good, and like you watch and you're like, yeah, he's the bad guy. Obviously he's the bad guy, but like he's still able to convince the entire family, other than Micah Monroe. It's like, no, because we were so deep in the ops, like they had to make us look like we died. But
yeah,
it's great. I also love Leland Orson in this movie. Little fun fact is that they almost didn't have his character in this movie, because when you're making such a small film, like with a small production, you try to cut out as much fat as you can from the script before you start shooting, and they were kind of trying to figure out if they even necessarily needed the father figure in the movie, because that's like one actor you don't have to pay if you take him out. But if you do take him out, you kind of have less of these comedic moments that Leland Orson kind of gives to the film, and you have to kind of rewrite the movie to make it be a single mother raising two kids, and the guest comes in, and instead of trying to infiltrate through almost like a neighborly way, it would be maybe more of a like he's trying to seduce the mom kind of way, and that kind of changes the entire like feeling and the tone of the film, and they didn't want to do that. And like Leland Orson is just so good as the dad, and he's so funny. And apparently he's the only actor that they had that they were just like, yeah, improvise, do what you want, it's fine.
I love him in this movie. I love the scene when he finds out his boss was murdered.
It's so great.
Because he's like, he's an alcoholic in this movie. That's like something that's woven throughout the entire thing, and I think that works really well against what's going on as a whole. But it's just so funny how he comes in and he's like, I need a drink. He's like, my boss died, and like, talking about all this tragic stuff that happened, and they're like, oh my god. And then he like sips the drink and he's like, but weirdly enough, that kind of means that I got the promotion or something.
Yeah, it's like I got his job and I got his salary. It's like,
And
it's a good thing, and it's funny because it shows that David is helping these guys out, but in like such a like a brutal manner. Like he's just wiping out the competition, and even when I think the kid's name is it Lucas?
Maybe.
When he gets into the fight, when he finally stands up against the bully, and they have the scene with the principal, which is another great scene where he says he's a friend of the family. He finds ways to help him out and like get above it all by being, kind of brutal in his tactics, even if it's not like
He's
physical.
Like,
it's
it's a hate crime because he called him the F slur.
Yeah,
and he makes it look like the kid is gay,
Yeah.
and he was committing a hate crime against him like that. And it's honestly a hilarious scene because you see the principal get so flustered and afraid of looking bad that he's like 2 months detention or like something like that, and he's like, we can work with that. And he's
I didn't
like,
even know he was gay.
Who are you? I'm a friend of the family. I think honestly one of the funniest moments is literally just the mom walking in and you just see David come in with her, and at that point in the movie it's like, of course David's just here for no reason. And it's almost like they're bringing in their like Joker card or wild card that like gets them out of any situation. Like that's why I actually compare it to Josh Hartnett and Trapp, is that I feel like both of these characters have a little bit of an awareness of their systemic advantage and like how to game the systems, where he's just like, oh, like, how do I get the kid out of the situation? Well, everybody's worried about being bigoted, so let me just leverage that. Or I like with the guy, the arms dealer guy, he's like, I can easily blame this on some guy who's doing some minor thing like smoking pot.
Yeah.
And so he's just like, I'm going to kill you. Like he shoots all those guys, and there's just many ways in which he knows in a weird way how to look good but also do bad.
Yeah, he really plays the system really well. Like even in the party scene, one of the funniest scenes is him walking in with the 2 kegs.
Because kegs are so fucking heavy.
Dude, yeah, like the way that he's holding 2 kegs is crazy.
It's the funniest thing I've ever
seen. Is insane.
Like actually one of the best edits of all time. Just the bass dropping, like the way the music kicks in and you just see, where do you want these?
Yeah.
It's the funniest thing in the entire world.
So, yeah, he has that impression, then he walks over and what's the Joel David Moore, the guy from Avatar, he's like smoking a joint and he's like, you want to try some? And Mike Monroe's like, don't do that, like, because she thinks he's so like neat and proper, but he just takes a swig, he tokes a bit of it, and he does it so cool, like everybody just falls in love with him so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so charming that he could just get away with everything. And he also has this like kind of this pedestal because he's a veteran, and so he kind of uses that against people as well. Like when he's talking to Joel David Moore, he's like, yeah, I was in the army, and then he was like, oh, I can do that, and he's like, why couldn't you say? And then he kind of has this like Goodfellas like moment where he's like, what's so funny, huh?
And then he's like, I'm a soldier, I like guns.
Yeah, and then he breaks it. He says he's kidding with him, but it is a way for him to find people that could help him out. And again, he knew where to find guns through him, and so he's really just playing the system as best as he can, and like perfectly too.
Yeah.
And that's why he's so great.
And
Dan
it's for
Stevens
it's for the benefits of this suburban nuclear family, like trying to fix it.
Yeah.
He's like, I need to make these people comfortable in the system again. Now that they've sent their son off to war and he was killed.
Yeah. And I feel like I truly don't believe this movie works without Dan Stevens, because he pulls it off so well, and he did a lot of work for this role, because what Wingard and Barrett was saying was that when they hired him on, he was like super super skinny, because his previous role, he just needed to be like almost like malnutritious, like going from Christian Bale in The Machinist to Christian Bale in like Batman Begins or The Dark Knight. They had to go from like super skinny to kind of buff really fast, and so Dan Stevens was able to make that work, and he did a lot of stuff just to look like he had it, like he was like super on it. And there's like that popular scene where he walks out of the bathroom and he's just like, he has no shirt on, and you just see his abs and all that.
And there's just that music again. It kind of hits that music.
And apparently, to get that effect where he like looks that good, is 24 hours before he couldn't drink any water. And so right before shooting, he just chugged a Coke, did like 50 push-ups, and then they just shot that scene.
Interesting.
And apparently that just makes you look more defined, and like the glistening, and they like spray some stuff. Yeah.
I did not know that. But it's also like the moment when Mike Monroe tries to turn the family on David. It doesn't really work. He goes into her room, and they kind of like have it out, and then he immediately breaks the tension. Is like, oh, is that the mixtape you're making?
Yeah.
Is it done? Thanks.
Apparently that scene is in there's a deleted scene of it. I haven't seen it, but apparently that scene goes on just a little bit longer, and it's just a little funnier. Like he just pops his head back in it.
Yeah.
But I guess it kind of halted the pacing of the movie.
I guess I'll say that my also personal attachment to this movie is like, I do love the brother-sister dynamic in this film, especially the way that it evolves over the course of the movie. Like the way that Micah Monroe is immediately questioning David, and then the brother is like, sees all the some of the crazy stuff David is doing, but is like, oh, he's cool. Like he's, even though he kind of knows that something's wrong, he's just like wants to, I guess, stay safe and comfortable.
I think he kind of sees him as almost like a vigilante, like Batman character.
Yeah,
like it's like he's doing some dangerous stuff, but he's like doing it for the right reasons. Even though the right reasons are like really bad.
Well, yeah, and then eventually, of course, he has to turn on them. It's all programming.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the way the brother is just more comfortable with what's going on, and then they have to come together at the end, and he, ends up saving her and stabbing David as well, and then you get that whole scene where he's just like, "Don't feel bad."
Yeah. Also, what I like that this movie feels like it was made by people. I know that sounds weird because all movies are made by people, unless you have AI. Then
it's not a movie.
Then it's not a movie.
If you generated it, it's not a movie.
But it has kind of like this DIY feel to it. Like it feels like they were like it was. It has that I guess that indie feel to the film, and something that I've always noticed with Wingard and Barrett and their films is that they're very self-aware and close to the ground. They know like what it's really like to like make movies and like go through the process of making movies, and how stressful and hard it could be, because a lot of people have that idea of being like on a film set, and it's like, oh, it's all fun, you're with actors, and you're just like, it's a fun time the entire time, and it's like, no. Like they had to shoot this like really fast and like under pressure, and there's a lot of weather problems that was happening during this film that they were in some cases they were able to utilize and augment the movie. Like there's like that scene where he's talking to Micah Monroe and he's like, you in the bedroom, and then there's like thunder. That was like actual thunder on the day. And
oh wow.
Yeah, so there was little moments that kind of affected how they were shooting, but it also like helped it out. Like initially they were going to shoot this in like Washington or somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, where it's like very rainy and a lot of trees and really green. They ended up shooting in New Mexico, which was both had its own like problems, but it also led to them being able to shoot during any season, because it always looks like New Mexico. You don't have to worry about snow or heavy rain or things like that. I think there was like a bit of rain during their production, so they did have a bit of problem like that. It's like, of course it would rain, but it kind of led to an easier shooting, because you don't have to worry about shooting like in Washington. And I think they just like they know how to make movies that are both efficient and works well for them as well. And this was, I think, their first union production where they had to like have like procedures, and they had to like follow specific rules and whatnot. And a lot of the people that worked on this movie were kind of like the leftovers of people that could work in the union at the time, because everybody was working on Seth MacFarlane's A Thousand Ways to Die or A Million Ways to Die.
A Million Ways to Die in the West,
which was shot in New Mexico as well. Or they were working on Transcendence, which was that Johnny Depp movie, which was also taking place, I think, in that location. So
I don't think I've ever even heard of that.
Not a good movie. It was directed by Wally Fisher, who's Christopher Nolan's DP before Hoyt van Hoytema. But yeah, they didn't have a lot of support, but they had, but the people that they were working with were very passionate about what they were doing, and they got it done. Like their DP, I forgot his last name. It's like Robbie something, but he was like the lighting director of There Will Be Blood. Like that's cool enough. Like he has like experience, and they can make it like work and have it. They can figure out any problems that they have, because it was like a collaborative effort. Everybody like kind of respected him, and they knew what they were doing, and you didn't need to have like this big studio DP or these like the help of like a big studio to make this movie work. It works. They just know how to do it because they're very efficient, and they planned it out, and they were very they were on top of their stuff.
In a way, it does feel like it's this perfect little intersection of like, a step up in the, I don't know how to explain this, but it feels like they're still having fun with it. They're still doing it the way they want to do it, but there's a little more involvement on the studio end. There's a little more of a structure to what it is. Like, it's just kind of stepping closer and closer to being, I guess, fully in the studio system.
Yeah.
But it's still got so many great personal touches and things that feel spontaneous about it.
Yeah, I think with this movie they were truly like proving that they could that they can make these great fun movies. And something that they said that was a big note, because I always believed this, and I also read this from Walter Murch's book about editing, is test screenings. Usually studios will like do their own test screenings, but if you're making a movie outside of the studio system, you should always do your own test screenings as well. as kind of like a statistic in a way to prove to the studios that your stuff works, that people like it, and you're able to promote it through that and be
and
like,
you're able to make it the way people like it.
yeah, and so you don't have studio interference or cuts, and you could be like, no, my cut works because people liked it, so you don't have to touch it. And so that's kind of something that they were able to do with this movie and the previous movies, and I'm sure movies afterward, is to get that confirmation from, you know, the audience, see what they like, what they don't like, and you could edit what works and what doesn't. And I think that works with this movie. Like without that, we would have like an entire scene in which there's expository stuff about like who David really is and like all that stuff. But
instead, you get these great scenes at the I guess the base or whatever, where Lance Reddick, rest in peace, great performance in this film, and everyone is talking about David, but in this kind of almost, I guess, either top secret or kind of in the know kind of way.
It's really funny. You cut to like this office or this like conference room, and they're like, okay, we're going to talk about some highly secretive stuff. Okay, Lance Reddick, go at it. And he's like, okay, so we're going to talk. And then there's a knock at the door, and they're like, we need you. And he's like, I'll be right back.
That's it.
Like right as he's about to get really into detail about it, he's just cut off, and you don't get any of that information. You're just kind of left like, oh, okay.
It's almost like a little metaphor for, it's probably not intended this way, but it's almost like a little metaphor for like, no, this is not that kind of movie. Like, you know, let's pull away.
Yeah.
Very cool. I like it. But yeah, I think this film is perfect all the way through. I've really come around on it. It's one of the biggest changes in opinion I've ever had on a movie, and I think it was very important because, and I actually got to see this at a restoration screening 2 years ago with Simon Barrett, and I went up and I told him after the movie, I was like, hey man, I didn't get this movie at first, and I'm sorry about that, but I do now. Yeah. Because that was like my third time seeing it. So I already liked it before that, but that was when it really, seeing it in that theater setting, I was like, this is a fucking masterpiece. Like, it's just so good. I'm just excited to see
Onslaught, because it's going to be Simon Barrett and Adam Wingard coming back together. Just that's not like a studio film like the King Kong movies, or like some IP film like the Blair Witch, which I really like. The Blair Witch, I think that's super underrated horror movie, which is also extremely self-aware, and I think it's such a fun and interesting way to take that franchise, I guess, for franchise, please. But it's also like they're fun. They have fun with it. There's a moment in that movie in which someone's like, I think we should split up, and then someone's like, what? It's like it's like in the background or something. It's like, let's just put in there. But
I do need to see that one.
I like it a lot. I think it's also like genuinely, there's moments that are like really like, oh, that is scary. That's like a scary thing to happen. Super underrated, I believe. But yeah, I have to recommend like Simon Barrett's like kind of solo stuff as well. He did a movie that he directed called Seance. Super underrated. Not a lot of people have talked about it, but it is so fun. It's like takes place at a girls' school, and they're like they have a Ouija board, and they're trying to talk to ghosts, and their crazy shit happens. Or the other movie that he wrote but wasn't directed by Adam Wingard, called Adryon. Also really good. It's about these.
Didn't he direct that one?
No, that was directed by E.L. Katz, who's like kind of a friend of these guys, and like the mumblecore like situation. But yeah, I highly recommend like watching their stuff and like going in with an open mind about how they're trying to be both self-aware and funny and silly without the overt tones of that type of movie. Like they tend to direct serious with the undertone of the writing being very witty and dry and satirical.
Perfect way to put it,
Yeah.
I think. And that, I think, is the key to understanding their intent behind their work. Not liking it, necessarily, because that's up to you.
Yeah.
But, again, big confusion on people's end when I'm like, no, that's what the movie's trying to do. And then they're like, so it's bad on purpose? I'm like, no, get out of your fucking head, man. You can think it's bad, and it can be intentional. That doesn't mean they made the movie going, yeah, we're going to make this bad.
Yeah.
They didn't make it for you. That's all it is. They didn't make it for you.
Yeah.
Chill out. I just, oh God, one of the worst commonly said things to me is like, dude, the movie it being bad on purpose is a bad defense for the movie. I'm like, yeah, of course it is, because not everything revolves around your feelings about
Nobody
it.
makes a movie bad on purpose. You have to be an idiot to believe that.
Yeah. They can be making a movie that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
or
it could be
stupid.
silly or highly stylized in a way that you don't agree with, but that's the choice of the filmmaker.
Yeah, they're not making the movie and putting in all the effort to be like, I want to make the shittiest movie ever. They're probably thinking, oh, I'm gonna make a movie that's shitty when you compare it to the conventions of like what you expect. But again, that's still an artistic intent. That's still
sometimes
trying to
it's
do
like
something.
sometimes it's like purposely done to maybe satirize something or call attention to something, or to be like, this is this is a movie that people genuinely like, or the type of movie that people like. But if you look at it in a different way, you could kind of transform the movie into something else. And sometimes it just goes over people's heads completely.
Yeah, and for a movie to kind of have that goofiness, that self-awareness, that almost meta-ness to it in the terms of like how it expects the audience or asks the audience to be self-aware of like the context surrounding the film, the inspiration surrounding the film, the things that are being blended together. It's like the movie doesn't have to be overtly comedic to be playful.
Yeah.
Right?
Also, this movie, I love how this movie doesn't feel like incredibly unoriginal with its inspirations, because a lot of movies can have like the inspo for the films could be like written on their sleeve, like it's so pronounced that it almost feels like they're just copying and pasting like other films to make their film feel like, oh, it's kind of like a David Fincher film or something like that. Where this film doesn't feel like, oh, this is just a copy and paste of The Terminator or Halloween or Scream or any of the big movies that they've had inspirations to make this movie based off of. It feels like its own thing. Like it feels like fresh and original, even though they use a lot of inspiration from other films. Like like when I first saw this movie, I wasn't initially thinking, "Oh, that's Halloween," or "Oh, that was Terminator." I honestly came around to that, to picking those up like on a second and third viewing, where I was like, "Oh, yeah, I see what they're doing here." They mix it all so well, and they don't call too much attention to it either.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so good, because it feels like its own thing, even though they do take inspiration from a lot of things. And that's most films.
Yeah.
Like that's
Most
just
films.
That's literally just Quentin Tarantino's entire filmography, is taking pieces and things from other films and just like putting it all into his singular films.
I think the way he does it is far less graceful than most.
Oh yeah, no, he does it like very bluntly. It's like,
it's
no,
very
this
much
is
like it borders on like just ripping it off.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the time, it's not. This I think is more gracefully done, more sophisticated in the way that it's like it creates its own meaning out of these things that it's taking from, and it uses it in a more original context. With Quentin Tarantino, it's like, yeah, there's a bunch of samurai in the movie, and they're samurai, or just the obvious camera flourishes of the wuxia films.
Yeah, just
and,
like
all that stuff.
he will take things like production design or costumings, or even in like Hateful Eight, he's using old music from The Thing in that movie.
Yeah.
So he's just taking from other movies, just kind of stitched together to his own movies. And love him or hate him, he does it very well, and he made it very popular for other filmmakers to kind of do the same.
And to you, that might be literally the worst thing that anyone's ever done. But it's definitely something to be discussed. I love Kill Bill. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, I think I don't know why we're talking about Q. Did we talk about Quentin Tarantino like having fun with?
No, we didn't.
No, so apparently they were like during one of the last few shots, or maybe even the last day of shooting for The Guest, Your Next was coming out, the film that they did previously, and it was just coming out. I think it like just had premiered, and they were kind of nervous about the reception that it was getting, because they were kind of getting information consistently like, oh, it's doing all right now, or we'll get better, like it's projecting to do a little bit better. And so they were Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett were just like, damn, I don't think the movie's doing that well. But then they got some news from one of their friends that Quentin Tarantino was watching it, and he was just having a ball with the movie. He was just like laughing it up and like just having a good time with the movie, and that kind of like made them feel good about it, because like I feel like if Quentin Tarantino likes your movie, then you're doing something good. Your movie's at least like having fun.
Yeah. And
so I think that was just kind of like a good thing for them to, especially back then when QT was like the biggest, like one of the biggest directors. I think, what was he doing at that time? Probably
2014, 20.
So this was after Inglourious Bastards. This was
about Django Unchained area.
Yeah,
that was 2012.
So like peak Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
So that was probably a really nice thing to see and hear.
Yeah. But I think you all should watch The Guest.
The Guest,
if you haven't seen it,
is fantastic. Watch it before you see Onslaught. Maybe
watch Your Next too.
Watch Your Next too. It's great. It's one of those just great, almost subversive home invasion Final Girl movies, slasher movies. It's incredible. It's like a mumblecore horror like classic.
Yeah,
because just like all the mumblecore like directors and actors are in there. Joe Swanberg, Ty West, who's doing.
Bro, fucking Ty West.
I can't believe he's doing Ebenezer, which I'm like. The problem is that you have Johnny Depp as Ebenezer. That's the elephant in the room.
If you wanted to do a little one for them and have like do this like kind of slop Christmas Carol prequel that's unnecessary, but you had someone else playing him, I would have. Yeah, I'd be like, all right, Ty West, get your bag.
Yeah,
but Johnny Depp,
it's like, dude,
in the big 2026, Johnny Depp and Daisy Ridley's in there. It's like, no, Daisy, what are you doing? The fucking tagline, literally the stupidest tagline I've ever seen in my entire life. Before he was Scrooge, he was Ebenezer. No, he was Ebenezer then as well. That is his surname. So, like, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, I don't even know.
They're trying to do the Wonka thing, where it's discover how Willy became Wonka. That makes more sense because Wonka is the brand of chocolate that he sells. So it's discover how he got off the ground and got to his chocolate factory.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Before he was Scrooge, he was Ebenezer.
Yeah,
no, he was Ebenezer Scrooge the entire time.
So is this a prequel to A Christmas Carol?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the past of Ebenezer Scrooge, which makes no fucking sense because occupies so much of the story of the Christmas Carol to begin with.
It doesn't. I don't get it.
And Ebenezer Scrooge sucks.
Yeah, he's an awful person.
He's a terrible person. The whole point is like, he's approaching being just like the worst guy. You're like, I don't even want to see this guy redeemed. But you get that redemption arc overnight for him in the Christmas Carol. But in this movie, it's like we're just gonna watch this guy be the worst guy of all time.
I don't get
what is the point?
I mean, Ty West, I still like you for now, but like next you got to choose better next time. Like, because I do love the X movies, like X.
Yeah,
Pearl,
those were good.
Maxine.
He was on a decent run. I didn't love Maxine, but I thought it was fine. I liked it. I know you love Maxine.
Yeah, I think it's like the second best for me, honestly.
We got to talk about that trilogy eventually. Yeah. But
anyway, there was a bunch of mumblecore actors in Your Next with Ty West, Joe Swansberg, Amy Simas. Watch that movie. It's great. I think I don't know if I mentioned or not, but The Guest was like the first movie in which they weren't working with their friends, and so the crew and the cast were all just like, it was like a legitimate like movie for them. That was their first like union film, so I think they really proved themselves with this movie as well. So yeah, check it out. Check out Your Next before this movie and Your Next before Onslaught. I think they're great, and I think Onslaught will probably be great too. It will be.
I can't fucking wait.
There's no way it's gonna be bad. Like, I honestly, Adam Wingard has never let me down. So we'll see.
If you're a fellow Adam Wingardian and you want to be a friend of the family, be sure to follow our podcast, rate it.
And Simon Barrett. I always leave him out. Simon Barrett's like a key part of Wingard's filmography. So,
but be sure to check us out on other platforms: Instagram, TikTok. Listen to our new episodes every Monday. Check out some of the commentary tracks we've done recently on Signs and Unbreakable. Watch those movies along with us. It's a pretty fun time.
Yeah.
Last week we talked about Spider-Man, Brand New Day. So check that out. That was a really fun episode. And coming up, we have, I think, The End of Oak Street is the next film we're going to cover.
I still am excited for it, but did you see that AI stuff?
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the marketing team is a separate entity.
Yes.
However, it's disrespectful to everyone that worked on that film, because I believe there's no generative AI in that film. I think, but the fact that they used it for the marketing really sucks, because here's the issue it can have, because people, they really want to not support films that use generative AI. I don't want to support films that use generative AI. Speaking of which, don't go see that new Eli Roth movie.
No.
They use generative AI for it. But anyway, people don't want to support the films that use generative AI. This is an interesting case where the film doesn't, but the marketing did.
Does.
And when you go and support the film, what unfortunately happens is
you're supporting the marketing.
Then you're telling the marketing team, "Oh, we can do that because this film was a success and it worked, and you could send the wrong message with your dollars." So it is very difficult.
It's so unfortunate for the director. I forgot his name.
David Robert Mitchell.
Yeah, it's because he's been kind of having this like this drainage of luck. Like after It Follows, he did Under the Silver Lake, which is really good, but it was kind of.
It's a weird movie.
It was swept under the covers a bit.
Yeah, and also I think it was A24 as well, and they tend to be weird. They kind of pick and choose what they want to actually market.
And it took him forever to get this movie made, and now it's like with the AI stuff, there's people literally out there that are like, I'm not going to watch a movie anymore because of the marketing. And it's like, damn, it's like he can't get a break. And I feel so bad, because I do think he's like an incredibly good director. Like with just the two movies that I've seen from him.
It's
a
film starring Anne Hathaway, Ewan McGregor.
It's got
by J.J.
dinosaurs.
Abrams.
It's produced by J.J. Abrams. Like, what is Warner Brothers thinking?
Yeah.
It's infuriating. And this is kind of, again, with the whole Paramount thing, it's like they're just going to do this more and more if they allow Paramount to take over.
Now, I am going to go see the film. I have a press screening tomorrow, actually, to go watch it. I know you'll probably see it when your private screening happens or whatever. Yeah. So we both kind of are in a fortunate position to where it's like we can still watch the movie and we don't have to support. But also we want to support the filmmakers, the artists, the actors, everyone that worked on the movie that gave their effort. Fuck, the real dog that's in the movie that is an actual dog actor that they, instead of using that to market the film, AI generated some dogs talking for some bullshit fake dog podcast.
Yeah.
It's awful. So but it does create an interesting thing where it's like, well, how do we handle this exact situation?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure people will still go see it. We'll still talk about it, and I'm sure we'll bring that up again next week. But yeah. Anyway, let us know if you're excited for that movie, what you think about that whole dilemma.
Yeah.
Let us know what is an actor or who is an actor that you think is so good in everything but is not in enough things, like Dan Stevens.
Yeah.
Underrated leading man. I think he should lead more movies too. But he's also a great character actor as well.
Yeah. No, he's great in anything and everything he's been in.
I feel like he has just like that perfect energy where he could do both.
Yeah.
And I guess what are your theories for Onslaught, if you have any?
Me?
Do you have any questions?
No,
we talked about ours. I'm just saying, do you have any questions for other people?
I don't believe so, because you pretty much said what I.
I stole it. Okay.
We didn't plan the questions, but I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you guys next month for Onslaught. We'll see you guys next week for The End of Oak Street. Is there anything else you want to add? All right. I've been Peyton.
And I've been Adrian.
And we'll see you next time on The Apple Box.